Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Facebook Live coming to you from the New England Aquarium. We are speaking to you from the fourth floor of the building overlooking our giant ocean tank. Lovely view, right? My name is Nick, and this is the talented Taylor, and we are both educators here at the aquarium. I want to welcome viewers that have already been fans of our Facebook Live series and some of our other video series. But we also want to welcome in any new fans that have discovered us as well. So, while recent weather up here in New England would say otherwise, Taylor, we are certainly into the colder part of our year, for sure. And with colder temperatures means colder ocean temperatures, and that typically marks the onset of sea turtle stranding season. Definitely not something to celebrate, but certainly something that our sea turtle rescue team likes to be prepared for. So we thought that today we would review some of the details about our sea turtle rescue program and also highlight two success stories from that program that live in this tank over here. Okay, what do you say, Taylor? Should we do it?
Let's do it.
Okay, Taylor, take us away.
Alrighty. So as Nick mentioned, sea turtle stranding in New England is certainly not an anomaly. As he mentioned, when those water temperatures cool off, this can impact sea turtles. Sea turtles are ectotherms, which means they get their internal body temperature from the water temperatures around them. But just like humans, there's kind of a natural temperature range that they thrive in. And as water temperatures drop in the fall here in New England, and sea turtles who get stuck up here can experience something called cold stunning, which is kind of like turtle hypothermia. And when they get cold stunned, this can lead to other health issues that increases the likelihood of those turtles stranding on local beaches. Now, fortunately, scientists have known about this phenomenon for quite a while now, and there are a number of organizations and sea turtle hospitals that have been established to lend a helping flipper. See what I did there?
I do see what you did.
You guys can thank Nick for that joke. But one of those such sea turtle rescue programs is actually right here at the New England Aquarium. Nick and I did a video actually from our sea turtle hospital in Quincy, Massachusetts about a year ago. So if you're curious and seeing what it looks like, you can check out that video. But they have been rescuing stranded sea turtles for about 25 years now. They do this alongside their partners at our Mass Audubon Wellfleet Bay Wildlife Sanctuary. Woo, that's a mouthful. I was nervous about that one.
You did it.
And they have volunteers at the Mass Audubon that will walk the beaches looking for stranded sea turtles. When they find them, they bring them to our sea turtle hospital in Quincy. Our medical team there takes over and gives those sea turtles top-notch medical care, and hopefully over time rehabilitate them enough that we are putting healthy sea turtles back into warmer ocean waters. Unfortunately, they're pretty good at that. Nick will talk a little bit more about that, I think, a little bit later. But it doesn't actually just end there. It actually takes countless hours, not only from staff and volunteers at Mass Audubon and New England Aquarium, but it also requires pilots who help transport these guys and lots of other folks all around the state and actually all around the country that help make sure that these sea turtles get back to the ocean. So pretty impressive program, which is why we love to talk about it so much.
In fact, Taylor, I would say that that program itself could take up multiple Facebook Lives for sure, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot more to say about the details of that program.
I heard a rumor that there might be a Blue Planet Science series coming out about our sea turtle team. So,
oh boy!
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
But I think at this point we should probably highlight the story of Carolina and Retread, two of our sea turtles, as Nick mentioned, right here in the giant ocean tank that came through our sea turtle rehab and rescue program in Quincy, Massachusetts. What do you say, Nick?
That sounds like a great idea. And if you guys missed that, Taylor let the cat, or the turtle rather, out of the bag. Our success stories are Carolina and Retread. If you guys are fans of the aquarium, you might know a little bit about these turtles already. They have definitely been featured in some of our videos. I remember a video that you facilitated with Lindsay Phoenix, one of our aquarists here that works on the giant ocean tank. who talked all about feeding Carolina in Retread. Definitely check that video out. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the two success stories, and they each have a little bit of a different story. So we'll talk a little bit about each one. Let's start with Carolina, shall we?
Sounds good.
Okay, so Carolina, the loggerhead sea turtle, was part of a mass stranding event off of the coast of Massachusetts, to be more specific, Wellfleet, Massachusetts. She was part of a stranding where 127 sea turtles were recovered back in 1999. And at that time, when we recovered Carolina, we were able to estimate that she had hatched between the years of 1985 and 1990, which would now make her between 30 to 35 years old. That's our estimate for her age. Now, her health improved quite a bit during her rehabilitation, but she was deemed non-releasable because she showed difficulty foraging for food on her own, which is certainly an important skill for a live sea turtle.
Pretty key, I would say.
Right?
Yep.
And also something that we specifically, I guess you could say, test for before we release turtles back into the ocean. We want to make sure that they can exhibit those natural behaviors, and that's an important one of them. So because of that, because she showed that she was having difficulty doing that, we decided to keep her here as part of our giant ocean tank community. She entered the tank as a 63-pound turtle, and today she weighs about 150 pounds, which is a great success story for her. Now, the name Carolina refers to the fact that loggerhead sea turtles will nest on beaches off of the Carolinas, among other places. So that's how she got her name.
Great name. Big fan.
Okay, let's talk about the other success story.
Our other success story is our other female loggerhead sea turtle, Retread. Now, Retread was actually found stranded in Brewster, Massachusetts in 1987, and she was actually found on Thanksgiving Day. So we are about to celebrate the anniversary of Retread's rescue date. And when she was found, she was in really rough shape. There was pretty obvious evidence of frostbite on her shell and on her face. And when vets initially tried to find a heart rate for Retread, they couldn't find one. And this is probably because her heartbeat was less than 1 beat per minute.
Whoa.
So initially they did not think that Retread was going to make it. But as she slowly warmed up at our sea turtle hospital, a staff member saw her move and they knew she was alive, which is, I think, pretty incredible. Now, Retread spent quite some time in our rehab center, and she seemed to make a pretty full recovery with one exception. The frostbite that I mentioned just a few minutes ago had some pretty extensive damage around her eyes. So we estimate that she's lost about 90% of her vision, which again made her irreleasable. So she became another sea turtle that was going to call our giant ocean tank home for the rest of her life. Now, Retread came to us at just a little peanut-sized 30 pounds, so she was a pretty small sea turtle when she showed up. She's now weighing in at just shy of 200 pounds. So you could say that she's certainly thriving here in the giant ocean tank. And Retread, we estimate her age is somewhere between 35 to 45 years old. So when they come in really small like that, based on their growth rate, we can kind of estimate within about 5 to 10 years or so. So that is Retread's story. Now, Retread has a somewhat unusual name. We get questions a lot about where on earth did her name come from. So the word Retread actually has 2 definitions. The first being is to be recalled into service. And the second definition is to be made new. So I think both of those definitions are pretty fitting for our special sea turtle, Retread.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So that's the story when it comes to Carolina and Retread and how they came to live with us here in the giant ocean tank. It's a great story. We see a couple turtles actually swimming around at the surface here,
I was going to say, if you keep your eyes out behind us, so we have, it looks like Carolina and Myrtle are both up at the surface right now.
That's right. There you go.
Marissa's trying to get you guys a good look over there. There's Carolina.
There she goes, taking a big breath. So as we watch our turtles move around the tank here, this is the part of our Facebook Lives where Taylor and I are looking to all of you to see if you have any questions for us. We have gotten a myriad of turtle-related questions over the years, so nothing is off limits. Feel free to post those questions in the comment section, and our videographer, Marissa, will deliver those questions over to us, and we'll do our best to try to answer them. Are you seeing any questions to start us off here, Marissa?
Yeah, how often do you keep turtles that come from the Sea Turtle Hospital? You're retreading Carolina a special case, or do you keep others?
Yeah, no, that's a
Great
really good question.
question.
So I would say that they are both a special case. I don't off the top of my head know the total number of sea turtles that have lived here in the giant ocean tank, but I think in almost every occasion, except maybe our initial population, maybe we got Myrtle and some other turtles initially to start with that may not have actually come from stranding events, just to kind of start our community off in the giant ocean tank. But after that sort of initial period, I think most of the time that we had a turtle in this tank, it was because of some sort of stranding event or inability for us to re-release them back into the ocean, and that was not, those things don't happen super frequently.
I would also say it kind of has to be like the perfect circumstances where we have space in our giant ocean tank to accept another sea turtle. And right now, I think our maximum typically has been 4 sea turtles, and usually that 4th is a smaller species of sea turtle, which is a Kemp's-Ridley sea turtle, which is in fact the species that we see the most of coming through our sea turtle rehab and rescue program. But I'm not sure that we would necessarily take a sea turtle just because it couldn't be released. We usually have to find homes for them at other organizations. And actually, a lot of our sea turtles will go to other rehabilitation centers in order to finish out their rehabilitation. And in that case, those rehabilitation centers are finding homes for turtles that are non-releasable.
Okay, good
Great
question to get us started, yeah.
What should we do if we see a sea turtle stranded on the beach?
What do we do if we see a sea turtle stranded on a beach? That is an excellent, excellent question. So, the aquarium, as part of our main switchboard phone number, I believe, still has an option where you can report an animal stranding, specifically a turtle stranding. So you could call our main number here at the aquarium and make that report. Our sea turtle rescue team will typically be able to respond to those reports as quickly as we can. I know there are other stranding hotlines in other parts of New England as well, right, Taylor? Other states might have different numbers that you can call as well. A good reference is always to call the sort of the Fisheries and Wildlife Service number for the state that you live in to report things like strandings, or maybe to find out more information about how to report strandings.
And if you can't remember any of that, I would say talk to your local law enforcement, because even if you don't have the number, those guys certainly do, because they are well versed in dealing with things, especially local law enforcement along coastal communities. So that would be another great resource if you can't remember all of those other things.
and you know what, Taylor, I also kind of thought about this too. So there are certain occasions where some larger ocean animals here in New England might be up on a beach, and it might not be a bad thing. For instance, sometimes larger marine mammals like seals might come out of the water and sun themselves or rest temporarily on a beach. But when it comes to animals like sea turtles in New England, they're not doing things like nesting on the beaches. So if you see them out of the water, I guess I can't say it's always in severe distress, but usually it's not something that's a normal part of their behavior. So I would definitely try my best to report that. Yeah. Good questions. Any other questions, Marissa?
Do the turtles need to be out of the water also? Is there a place for them to do that?
Oh, we just talked about that. You wanna
Yeah,
start
great
that one off?
question. So sea turtles are air breathers. So I don't know if you guys got to hear it when Carolina came up a few minutes ago, but she took in a big breath of air, and you can hear them do that if you're standing at the top of the giant ocean tank, which I always love to point out to our visitors. That being said, however, sea turtles out in the wild typically would only be coming onto land in order to lay eggs, to nest. So male sea turtles will actually rarely come back to shore once they leave their nest as little hatchlings. There are some exceptions to this. I know there are beaches, for example, in Hawaii where turtles will come out of the water and sun themselves and take a little rest. But typically, sea turtles are only coming up onto beaches in order to lay eggs. So that being said, these ladies would be spending pretty much all of their time in the water, and because we don't have good nesting beaches, and more particularly because we don't have the specific beaches that they were born on here in the giant ocean tank, they're not going to be laying eggs. So them spending their time in the water is more than fine for these ladies. Pretty much the only time they're coming out of the water here at the New England Aquarium is when they're getting their checkups, but that's a slightly different situation. So they could probably come up and rest in the big sandy beach area. I don't know if you can kind of see it in the middle of the giant ocean tank there. If they wanted to, they could certainly get up onto that if they wanted, but we don't typically see them doing that. They're pretty much hanging out in the water, swimming around or resting on the bottom or on the coral in the giant ocean tank.
Have we ever had any babies born here? Excellent question. So it turns out that at least 2 of the current turtles that are living in our giant ocean tank have indeed laid eggs. In the case of Myrtle, the turtle that you guys are looking at on the screen right now, not too long after she first came to us, which was actually longer ago than our 2 loggerheads, about 50 years ago. When she first came to us, she actually did lay a small clutch of eggs in the tank. However, none of those eggs actually had baby turtles growing inside of them. It's a little bit unknown how long Myrtle had been living without the presence of a male sea turtle, so it would have been unlikely anyway that those eggs would have been fertilized, but we were actually able to discover those eggs laid in the tank, and we were able to confirm that none of them actually had babies growing inside of them. And then I said 2 turtles. It may actually be 3. I think we are working on confirming other eggs that we have discovered in the tank and whether or not they came from both Carolina and Retread or just one of them. But we have discovered eggshells and empty eggs in the tank in an area where Carolina and Retread like to nap. And so it is likely that at least one of them, if not both of them, have laid small bunches, 1 or 2 at a time, of eggs in the tank. But again, just like Myrtle's case, those eggs did not have baby turtles growing inside of them. So no babies here.
No males in the giant ocean tank, no male sea turtles. So that means no baby sea turtles for us.
But boy, wouldn't that be a fun surprise for our animal care staff. That would be quite a surprise, yeah. Any other questions, Marissa?
I have lots of questions.
Okay.
So how many kinds of sea turtles are in the tank, and how many gallons does the tank hold?
Okay.
So we currently have 2 different species of sea turtle in our giant ocean tank. We've been talking a lot about Carolina and Retread today because they're the ladies that came through our rehab and rescue program. They are both loggerhead sea turtles, which is one of the species that commonly comes through that program. Our other sea turtle is Myrtle. She's that large sea turtle that Marissa was just showing all of you. And Myrtle is a green sea turtle. So she's a different species of sea turtle. She's also a larger species of sea turtle. So you might notice she's a lot bigger than Carolina and Retread. In fact, she's more than twice as big as Carolina and Retread. She weighed in at just about 500 pounds at her last checkup. So she's just a larger species of sea turtle. And they are calling our giant ocean tank home, which is currently holding about 200,000 gallons of Boston Harbor water that has been warmed up to a nice toasty 75 degrees.
Toasty is good.
Yeah, especially if you're a tropical animal. Just like Nick, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Kyla, age 7, wants to know, why do sea turtles bury their eggs in the sand?
Why do sea turtles bury their eggs in the sand? That's a great question.
Very thoughtful question. Yeah. So let's see here. First of all, when turtles lay their eggs, they are actually pretty soft. The covering that covers the outside of the egg hasn't actually hardened yet, and it has a little bit of a slime coating on it as well to protect it. But because they're extra soft, they could use a little bit more protection. So I think evolutionarily over time for a sea turtle to have lots of babies that actually grow up to be adults, they need to make sure they find a place to lay those eggs that's safe and protects those eggs at first. Another important thing about sea turtle eggs is that whether or not those hatchlings come out as a boy or a girl is dependent on the temperature around the eggs, believe it or not. I always get this confused, Taylor, but if it's cooler temperatures, it's more likely to be a male, right? And
Cool
if it's
dudes.
Cool dudes, hot chicks.
You got it.
With all respect, of course, I say that. Warmer temperatures, more likely for a female to hatch out. And so sea turtles also like to find a place that has a temperature range that will allow for a mix of males and females to hatch out. And beaches typically provide the ideal habitat for that. Sea turtle moms will climb up out of the water onto those beaches. They'll dig a nice big nest. It may take them over the course of maybe a day or two to dig the nest, lay all their eggs, and return to the ocean. Some sea turtles may only lay small amounts of eggs at a time, 20 to 30. Others may be upwards of 100, maybe even more than that at a time. And so having a nice beach with sand to bury the nest for protection allows those sea turtle eggs to sort of start to grow in a safe place and ideally hatch out as both boys and girls. Yeah.
Remember, sea turtles are air breathers, so having those babies hatch out on land is actually an advantage for that reason.
Another excellent
And there's
point.
also some studies happening right now about the hatchling sea turtles and the amount of work and energy it takes for them to get from their nest out to the ocean. And actually that initial run to the ocean could actually prep their muscles for all of the swimming and floating that they're going to do once they get out to the ocean. So it's actually thought that potentially that initial run from their nest out to the ocean is also really important for sea turtle development.
Did we just learn something new from Tim? Did you read this scientific paper this morning?
Not this morning.
Oh,
no.
okay.
Okay.
I just learned something new. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to hear something even cooler about that study?
Do I?
They put the sea turtles on tiny treadmills in order to measure this.
What? Oh, I hope there are photos of this.
There's
We need-
videos. Yeah, you can
We
look
need
it
to
up.
get some
Okay.
videos of this. Wow. So I think we got time for a couple more questions, right, Taylor?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Can you tell if a sea turtle is a boy or a girl?
Oh,
Ooh,
such a
how
good
do you
one.
tell a sea turtle is a boy or a girl? So this
good
is
one.
actually somewhat tricky because just by looking, you can't always know. For many species of sea turtles, the males will have slightly longer tails than the females, and this is a mating adaptation. The males need to have a longer tail in order to mate, but that's not always the case. So just by looking at a sea turtle, it's really hard to know. And actually, even by looking at their blood, sometimes for reptiles, it's also really hard to know in order to do that test. So it's tricky to know if they're a boy or a girl.
we like to allow them to maintain their privacy. Yeah.
But we're reasonably sure all of our sea turtles are females. Like Nick mentioned, we know at least 2 have been definitely have been laying eggs in the tank, and we suspect that our 3rd is also a female based on her anatomy.
So
Very good.
the first grade Remote Learning Academy class in Beverly wants to say thank you guys so much. And one of the students wants to know, how long do sea turtles live?
Ooh, how long do sea turtles live?
Shout out to Beverly! How long do sea turtles live? That's
do
a
you think,
question.
Nick?
Yeah, we get that question a lot, don't we, Taylor?
We sure do.
It's an interesting thing to think about. We obviously want our animals to live for a really, really long time in our care to be able to show off how amazing they are to all of our visitors. And there has been quite a bit of research done studying the lifespan of animals like sea turtles. In general, most of the data is showing that sea turtles can live for quite a long time, and this is actually not uncommon among other types of turtles and other reptiles as well. If they have enough food to eat, if they can avoid predators, if their habitat is maintained and it's healthy, if their environmental conditions are safe for them and comfortable for them, they're typically able to live for quite a long time. You heard Taylor and I mention the estimates that we have for our loggerhead sea turtles, both in the range of 30 to 40 years old right now. We think that Myrtle is actually closer to 70 to 90 years old, somewhere in that range. And there's data that shows that turtles can live even longer than that as well. Exactly how long? Still something that scientists are trying to confirm for sure. Someday, hopefully, we hope to be able to take an examination of a green sea turtle and say that this turtle is likely to live to 150 years old. We're not quite there yet where we can say that with certainty, but there is data that shows that they are very long-lived animals. Yeah.
Yeah, unlike other species of turtles and tortoises, there's nothing on a sea turtle's body that can indicate their age. So the only way to know how old a sea turtle is to see it hatch out of its nest and to track it its entire life. Now, we estimate sea turtles can live to be over 100 years old, as Nick mentioned. How much over 100, we don't really know, because at over 100 years, they're outliving their researchers. And we don't have technology that can track them through their entire life yet. So eventually, someday, we might have that technology, and animals like Myrtle and Carolina and Retread can help us clue in on a number. But again, that's kind of like ideal care, right? Because there's no predators in here, they have excellent food, they have a whole team of doctors that take care of them if they get sick. So that's kind of like best case scenario for sea turtles. But they'll help us figure it out eventually.
That's right.
So in 2003, there was a turtle named Scoot. You guys know what species Scoot was and where Scoot went?
So I believe Scoot was a Kemp's Ridley sea turtle.
Sounds right. I thought so too. Yeah, okay. Good thing you're here to confirm that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our brains combined, we can probably come up with answers. But I'm actually not sure what happened to Scoot. Scoot was here before Nick or I worked at the aquarium. We've both been here for about 7, almost 8 years now. But Scoot, as you mentioned, was before our time. I'm not sure if Scoot went to another aquarium or if Scoot passed away. I don't actually know, but I know somebody who might know.
No,
so
we can certainly find out.
We can see if we can find that out for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do sea turtles have predators or prey?
Yeah, do sea turtles have predators or prey? Nick, do you want to take that one?
Sure, yeah. Well, we'll start with the prey side of things. They certainly have a healthy diet and some different options that they eat, and it kind of varies between each species of sea turtle. Let's take, for example, the 2 species that Taylor mentioned that we have in our tank here. Loggerhead sea turtles are typically carnivorous, and they're going to be eating animals, things like crustaceans, maybe small fish that they might be able to catch, maybe also things like squid if they can actually catch them in the wild as well. At other times of their lives, they might actually eat jellies as well, and I'll just say that pretty much every type of sea turtle at one point during their life will eat jellies, so that's a pretty consistent prey item for them. And then when it comes to green sea turtles like Myrtle, their diets consist mostly of vegetation, seagrass, algae, things like that grow in the habitats that they live in, the tropical habitats that they live in. And while they're eating all that seagrass, green sea turtles may also consume other small invertebrates, crustaceans, things that are living in and among the seagrass, but
Like
primarily
shrimp.
they're eating those greens. Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
Like little shrimp.
Like little shrimp,
Yeah.
right? But that's actually, ironically enough, how green sea turtles get their name, because eating all that vegetation turns some of their internal issues a green color. So that accounts for prey. Taylor, do you want to take predators?
Yeah. So at full-grown adults, there are very, very few things that can eat sea turtles. And probably the only things that are really eating adult sea turtles are sharks. Primarily large species of sharks, like tiger sharks. In fact, tiger sharks have teeth that are a special shape that allow them to get through that hard shell. Smaller species of sharks might be snacking on baby sea turtles. Even things like large fish might go after baby sea turtles, or shorebirds might go after baby sea turtles. But once they're adults, there are very few natural predators for sea turtles. So primarily, humans are the things that adult sea turtles have to watch out for.
That's right. Yeah.
Great question.
2 more questions.
Okay.
Are babies born with hard or soft shells, and what percentage of babies survive to adulthood?
Ah.
Are babies born with hard or soft shells? Do you want to take that one to start with?
I believe they're fairly hard. They're not as hard as they will eventually be as adults, but it's kind of like human baby skeletons versus adult skeletons. So the sea turtle shell is actually part of their skeleton. If you were to look on the inside of their shell, you would notice that their backbone and their ribs are fused to the inside of their shell. And that outer layer is keratin, kind of like our hair and our fingernails. And it's actually pretty close to the consistency of like a really hard fingernail, I would say.
Yeah.
So while there might be a little bit of flexibility in their small bones, and therefore a little bit of a flexibility in their shell, it's still pretty hard. It's not like a soft-shelled crab or something like that.
There you go. Yeah, that's literally what I was going to say, so I'm glad you answered that.
Perfect.
And then the second question, Marissa, was what percentage of sea turtle hatchlings actually grow up to be adults? Is that correct? Yeah, so I'm not familiar enough with the studies that have looked at that question to be able to quote you an exact percentage. It's certainly different among the different species, but I will say that every single species of sea turtle is either threatened or endangered, which means that that number, that percentage of hatchlings growing up healthy adults is going down. It's not going up. That's why it's important for programs like our Sea Turtle Rescue Program to help them out, because we want that number to be either stable or increasing. We want the number of hatchlings growing up to be healthy adults to be going up. I don't know, do you know any numbers off the top of your head? I don't.
It's very low. Like I want to say it's like maybe 5%.
Okay,
it's
that's
a
very
pretty low number.
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't make it to adulthood, but I would have to look up the exact percentage because I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's a good question. But this seems like actually a good time to segue kind of over to our conclusion. We know that you guys love asking questions and learning about sea turtles. So if you do have any more questions, like the one that we just tried our best to answer here, put them in the comment section and we'll come back to that. We'll do some digging. Taylor and I will do some digging and try to get more information about some of the great questions that you guys had, as well as any additional questions that come along. Does that sound good, Marissa?
We have quite a few coming in still, so we'll answer those later, but this seems like a good one to wrap up on.
Yeah.
Is the aquarium open for us to see and learn more?
Oh,
Is the
this one we
aquarium
can answer
open to
with
see
certainty.
Sea turtles.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. We're open. We do have timed ticketing because we're limiting the number of people in the building at any given time, but you can head to our website in order to find out what tickets are available at what time on any given day. And yes, please come and see our sea turtles.
Indeed. Okay. Thank you guys for your interest. Keep those questions coming again. We'll do our best to answer those following the presentation. But we want to thank you guys all for joining us to help celebrate Carolina and Retread, our rescue and rehab success stories, as well as all of the great work that we and other organizations do to help protect wild sea turtles. While Carolina and Retread are going to spend their life here at the aquarium, our turtle rescue and rehab program has about an 85 to 90% success rate at rehabilitating and re-releasing turtles back into the ocean, which is awesome. Fantastic. But don't feel bad for Carolina and Retread. Their life here at the aquarium includes plenty of squid tacos, great health care, and their choice of napping locations in the giant ocean tank, except for where Myrtle is napping. Nobody can move Myrtle from her napping spot. So they have a pretty good life here in our giant ocean tank and at the aquarium, and we love having them here as ambassadors as well. Make sure to check back to our website as well as our social media platforms to learn about how sea turtle rescue season is going. And also, like we keep mentioning here, Taylor and I will do our best to answer any of those follow-up questions that you guys have. Stay safe out there and join us again really soon for another Facebook Live. See you later.
Thanks, friends.
Bye to the turtles, too.
Okay, say goodbye to those turtles too.